Most HR managers are told they need to be more strategic, but no one ever shows you what a real HR strategy looks like, how to align it with the business, or how to get leadership to actually support it. I'm Bryttani, Graddick, Chief Administrative Officer by day and also HR Leadership Coach. I've had the pleasure of leading HR training and compliance for years, and building strategy is a major part of how I move from HR staff to the executive team. Inside of my HR Leadership Accelerator program, this is one of the biggest shifts my clients make, going from reactive tasks to writing strategies that actually get leaders to buy into them. If you haven't subscribed to the channel just yet, I invite you to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, not miss any videos I drop about ways to elevate your HR career on purpose and with purpose. Quick question: what's the hardest part about getting your strategy together right now? Is it choosing priorities? Is it getting leadership buy-in? Tell me in the comments. Here's the truth: your strategy is your credibility document. It's what leadership uses, consciously or not, to decide whether you're a strategic thinker or just the HR person who handles things. So today I'm going to walk you through what a strong HR strategy needs to have so that leadership takes it seriously in 2026. First thing you need to know: strategy fails when you don't understand the business. I say this all the time. Every idea is a good idea, but not every idea is a right now idea. And it's so important to realize that you cannot choose HR priorities if you don't know what the business is valuing right now, if you don't know where the business is going right now, if you don't know the business is struggling with right now. You've got to get really in tune with your leadership team, really get in tune with the data around the work that you're doing, the data around the work that the business is doing, to understand how you fit in. The reason why HR sometimes feels relegated to a side project status or not quite aligned with the big picture goals is because, honestly, sometimes people see HR as a cost center. They don't see HR as a cost savings mechanism, and they don't see HR as a business driver unless you behave in that way. So you've got to align your HR priorities with what the business is valuing right now. In my program, I talk often about leading yourself first, and this is where this kind of pops in. So it's one thing to just think about all the things that we could do outside of ourselves, but if we're not in tune with what we're doing right now, if we're not in tune with the value that we bring, if we don't know what we need to strengthen or how people even see us, how can we grow from that? So it's really, really important to not only think about, okay, well, what can be a part of my HR strategy? The danger of only thinking about the strategy and starting there, not considering the value that you bring, not considering where the business is going, not considering what the business needs right now. You're going to do all this work. You're going to go alone in the lab. You're going to put all this stuff on paper, create a 30-page document, and present it to the powers that be, and you're going to get crickets because it's not going to matter, because it's not what the business needs right now. You came up with that in a vacuum. So you need to know the value that you bring. In my Lead Yourself First module, I'm talking personal branding. I'm talking about ways to understand the value that you bring and know how others view you. Do you understand that you have your own biases, but people have their biases around you as well? So you need to know how to mitigate those issues, how to overcome those challenges, and also how to make sure you're positioning yourself powerfully and more strategically, intentionally as well. Beyond understanding the business and also understanding yourself, second thing you need to know: a real HR strategy connects HR goals to business outcomes. Leaders don't support strategies that feel like isolated HR projects. Instead, they want to see how HR reduces risk, how HR supports revenue, how HR strengthens culture, how HR improves decision making, and how you improve performance as well. I wholeheartedly believe that the reason why leaders at all levels, from manager on up, fail to understand the value that HR can bring is because HR does not always do a great job of verbalizing the impact or verbalizing the results of the work that's being done in the department. For so long, HR has been so transactional. We process payroll, we handle and conduct interviews, we're scheduling meetings, we're processing paperwork for benefits and things like that. Those are the transactional things that we've got to get done. And while that work is valuable, while that work must get done, while your department cannot exist if you're not doing those things, we cannot stop there. We got to get to the top of that proficiency pyramid. We've got many videos on this channel where I talk about the pyramid, going up the ladder, so to speak, from the tasks to the processes, to the data, to that business alignment, where you're seeing that the work that you're doing is not done in a vacuum. It's not done in a silo. It's not done to be relegated on the side. It's truly work that has a true impact to the business overall. The goal here is to speak a leadership language. We can't only have a task list of all the things we're getting done with no direct input to the business outcomes, no direct impact to the bottom line, no direct impact to the people that we serve. So you've got to truly, truly, truly elevate your work. If you get nothing else out of this video, remember, the work that you do cannot be bottom of the barrel, bottom of the pyramid, bottom of the level. You've got to do high level work, and your strategy should reflect that. If this is resonating with you, hit that like button and let me know. And also tell me, which business priority right now do you feel the least connected to? Is it culture? Is it improving decision making, reducing risk, leadership development, or something else? Drop it in the comments. I might make a full video about that. Next thing to know about your 2026 HR strategy. Your 2026 strategic plan must have clear, measurable priorities. Too many HR professionals create a document filled with vague aspirations: improve culture, improve communication, improve retention. Leaders cannot support unclear goals. Think about it this way: if someone gave you a 15-page document with a bunch of nice to haves, or a bunch of hollow comments, or a bunch of aspirational phrases, with no meat to it, there's no bone to it, there's no detail, there's no plan, you're just giving me a list of a wish list, and no one wants that. Remember, leaders not only identify the problems, but they come up with the solutions. So in addition to identifying your major goal, maybe your goal is to improve communication, maybe your goal is to improve culture, but you've got to have a plan around that. So what are you going to do? Are you going to implement a new program, a new system? Are you going to take advantage of something you already have access to in a new way? Are you going to have more engaged check-ins or more involved meetings and things like that? There's so many ways to do anything you want to do, but you've got to have a plan around it. Not only a plan around it, but how are you going to measure it? Remember, your strategic plans have measurable priorities, measurable outcomes. So when you're talking about what you want to do and what you want to improve, how will you know that you got there? How will you know that you've been successful? What is it that you're measuring to know that you're doing what you say you're going to do? So if you say you're going to improve culture, what are you measuring that by? Maybe you're looking at engagement numbers. Maybe you're looking at retention. Maybe you're looking at turnover for a certain problem department that's got a high turnover rate. There are many ways around this. Maybe you're looking at the number of employee relations issues that you have that maybe are decreasing because the culture is improving. Maybe you're looking at the level of engagement from your teammates, not only from a survey perspective, engagement survey, poll survey, but just anecdotal, just the level of engagement, the level of buy-in, the pushback that you don't get moving forward. So there are many ways to measure the work that you're doing. I think so often in HR, people think that what we're doing is soft. They think that what we're doing is just fluffy and nice to have, and it's just a necessary evil sometimes. But no, anything that you do in HR can and should be measured. Again, we're working up that pyramid. Data is so important. Data helps you know how well are you doing. Are you doing better than you thought? Are you doing better than you were last year? Are you doing better than the industry? Are you doing better than your peers? So you've got to find ways to measure your success, engage yourself against yourself and against the benchmarks as well. So far, we've talked about understanding your business and the value that you bring to the company. We've talked about connecting your HR goals to the business outcomes. We've talked about putting in measurables to gauge your success. Next thing you want to keep in mind when it comes to your HR strategy for 2026, your strategy needs executive friendly communication. The best strategy in the world won't get approved if it's delivered in the wrong format. Executives prefer concise insights, simple visuals, a recommended path forward, and the rationale behind your decisions. Again, it's one thing to have all the ideas in your mind, but your ability to effectively communicate that to a leader is paramount. You've got to find ways to invest in that. Invest the time and energy is what I mean, but finding ways to put your thoughts on paper in a way that's going to be well received. Again, you're not putting together a 30-page document for your senior leadership team to file away or to not even read. Just to be completely honest, they're not going to do that. You've got to be concise. You've got to put it in a way that's going to be easily digested and easily understood. Whether you're using charts, whether you're using maybe illustrations, maybe you're telling a story. There's so many ways to get your point across, to put storytelling into your work. But the goal here is to just not give them a paper that's so long, full of all these ramblings of your ideas. You've got to be concise, because again, the idea here is to be clear. Clarity is crucial. You want to make sure you're able to project your powerful beliefs, your powerful ideas, and your suggestions in a way that's going to be the most well received. The most important part of your strategy should drive your calendar, your meetings, and your HR priorities. A strategy isn't a document. It's a guide for how you lead. You build credibility when people see consistency, follow through, clarity, and accountability. Remember, you're not putting this on paper for it to not be worked. The plan is only a plan if you work it. So, as an HR professional looking ahead in 2026, your plan should be driven by real outcomes, real data, and supported by not just your own gut feelings, but the things you're really trying to shift in the company, not on your own, not in a silo, but aligning with the business as well. But again, this work, putting this strategy together, and not on your own, but work with others to put this strategy together, should drive your calendar. The things you're trying to shift, the things you're trying to really mitigate, the things you're trying to improve should shift how you're going to move in 2026. Whether you are improving your leadership culture, whether you are reducing risk, whether you are closing gaps between what you do and what you say you're supposed to do. There are so many things you can do, but you want to make sure that the plan you put together is not a 1 quarter plan or a 1 month plan or easily achievable. Your plan should be a bit aspirational. Again, those big picture ideas, but the nuance of your plan is where you put the plan in the details. So you want to make sure you're including what are the milestones, how you know you're successful, what does the plan need to include, how long does the plan, what do you consider when you're putting things in place. Again, understanding not only who you are and the value that you bring, and not only the value that the company has, but also understanding where the company is going, understanding what you want to measure, understanding what the outcomes of this work is going to be. This is going to be the work that drives your calendar, drives your meetings, and drives your plan for the very next year. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, okay, this is exactly what I want to do to show up in 2026, but you want help in actually building the confidence, building the clarity, and the communication skills to present this to leadership, that's exactly what I do to help my HR clients in my coaching program. Together, we work to elevate your work, to activate your network, to position yourself as a strategic HR leader in your company that they rely on. The link is down below if you're ready to take that very next step. Or you can comment down below the words HR career success, and I'll send you a link to book a one-on-one call with me. We can talk about where you want to go. We can discuss your career plans and also ways to fill in those gaps. A great HR strategy is powerful, but it only works if you can show results and communicate that progress clearly. That's exactly what I cover in this very next video. I'm going to show you how to put together an HR report that actually showcases results in a way that leadership understands and respects. I'll see you there.